So I have really talented friends, and this week, my very talented friend Shell is sponsoring the Busy Girls Guide to the Bible podcast. Shell has this amazing Etsy store called Archer's Arrows by Shell, and she has come from the corporate world and become this phenomenal, ridiculous, amazing businesswoman where she creates and designs and does all these amazing things: branding, essential oil supplies, apparel, vinyls, you name it, she creates it. And so this week she is offering all of our listeners free shipping, guys, for orders of $20 or more. So if you have any kind of design needs, if you need vinyls or t-shirts or custom anything, use the code Andrea18, ANDREA 18, for free shipping on orders of $20 or more. And I will link her shop in the podcast notes. Go buy all the things, because I'm telling you, you'll want to. Welcome to the Busy Girls Guide to the Bible podcast. I'm Andrea, and this podcast is my own ramblings and lessons that I have learned in trying to balance being a Christian, a wife, a mom, a writer, a business owner, a photographer, a blogger, a friend, a daughter, a sister, and the 1 million other things that make me me. What I want so badly is to teach other women that the Bible doesn't have to be confusing or frustrating or even over your head. I want to teach you the ways that I have learned to carve out time, not only to get into the Bible, but to apply it, make sense of it, and get practical takeaways in everyday life. Welcome back to the Busy Girls Guide to the Bible podcast. I am so happy that you're here. We are 8 weeks into this, and it's been the coolest ride. And I'm really loving all the feedback and all of the Me Too's that I'm getting from all these subjects. So keep them coming, because I'd love to hear what you guys want to talk about. And yeah, let's just get into it. This week, I want to talk to you about a topic that I am very well versed in, and that is failing. I had a conversation with a girlfriend not too long ago about, missing the mark and failing and falling on my face and being a complete and total spaz, which I'm sure none of you can relate to. But that is kind of my thing. I think I'm pretty good at failing and learning from my mistakes mostly. But what I was telling her is that I kind of like it because, one, you learn a lot, but two, where I fall off, where my strength ends and I am now weak, God steps in and is like, hey girl, I got you. Don't worry about it. Let's do this together. And so I know that when he's asked me to do something, he's either going to equip me or he's going to let me get to the end of my strength and then step in. So it's really not a big deal to be a failure or to mess up, because God's always going to step in and give you a hand up, We're told in Proverbs, I believe, that to guard our hearts above all else. And one of the things that I love is a verse in Psalm 37:6. My heart and flesh may fail, but God is my strength and my portion. 2 Corinthians 12:9-10. My strength is made perfect in your weakness. And Proverbs 28:13. Whoever conceals his transgressions will not prosper, but he who confesses and forsakes them will obtain mercy. So every time we admit that we have completely messed up, God's grace and his mercy steps in where we have fallen flat or fallen on our faces. And obviously, I have come equipped with many stories, but I'll share some of my best, most ridiculous flubs, and where God was able to be like, girl, it's okay. I got this one. Just take a deep breath. I will say that a lot of what we believe to be failures and mistakes really to the rest of the world don't appear that way. So for example, my anxiety. I have struggled with that for 17 years now. And if you listen to the last two podcasts, you know my story. However, what I will say about that is that, like I said, the best way to feel isolated is to not tell people. the best way to feel isolated is to keep it all under wraps and pretend like it's not happening, or simply just medicate. And I've done both. I've done I got to hide it. I don't want to tell anybody. And I've also just done I'm going to medicate it and pretend like nothing's happening thing. And when I do that, one, I feel terribly crappy. And two, there's nothing about that God can use. I mean, he can, but what he wants us to do is confess it with our mouth and let his mercy come in. So the times that I have felt the worst, I have sunken deep inside of myself and become so self-absorbed and so lost in my own mind that no one can help me because no one knows. So I literally can envision myself on my bed at our last house, sitting there just letting it all wash over me and just taking it, not even combating it. And then not telling anyone for weeks on end. I didn't tell anyone what was going on. My husband, and I think my sister and my mom knew, but it was just a very private thing because I was so ashamed. Oh my gosh. You guys have heard me say shame is my cloak. That I just let it come over me. It's I just walk to the closet and put my shame cloak on every single time. But I feel when we're open and we're honest about it, there's so much that God can do with that. And I think watching him work through the last few years and bring me to this place and bring me to a place where I can be open and honest about it, even though it feels icky, he's using it. He's touching people's lives. He's allowing other women to feel comfortable and to let their guard down and say, hey, me too. Hey, I'm sweaty and anxious like you. Hey, can I join your anxiety society? So there's so much power in being able to confess that we don't have it all together. I don't know about you, but I certainly don't have it all together. I don't even want people to think that for 1 second that I have anything put together, because I don't. And because I don't, I get to rely on God and say, hey, this is where I suck. Can you please help? It's so awesome when we just allow that stuff, allow the things that we all go through, allow the things that are weakest and most vulnerable states. When we confess it, and even if it's just hey, let's talk to one person or a group of people, when we can do that, oh my gosh, there's so much power in there. There's this weight that's lifted off you because you don't have to carry that burden alone anymore. And then I can guarantee you that when you're walking through something and you're confessing something that is your shame, there will be somebody in that group or wherever that's going to say, girl, me too. Are you serious? You think you're the only one? No way. And if there's not more than one, I'd be surprised, because we're all doing the same thing together. We're all walking through life together. We're all struggling because we're not made perfect. We're made imperfect on purpose. So embrace that. Girls, the pressure is freaking off. We don't have to worry anymore. We are made imperfect. So pretending like we've got our poop in a group is false advertisement. The next time that you feel like, man, I really suck, girl, embrace it. It's okay. We are supposed to be relying on God for every single thing. And even if that is walking into your closet and going, God, help me pick out an outfit because nothing fits. I don't want to wear anything. My winter body is in full steam ahead. God, help me. Like the littlest things. Rely on God. I've gotten really into studying the Bible and studying the kind of backstory behind all of it. So I love taking things apart and learning the historical facts and learning about what the culture was like back yonder. So one of the things that I love is in Genesis, I love when it talks about, it's very first, the first and second chapters during the fall. I feel like so much that we struggle with came right at that moment. Immediately, we learn that the first feeling that washes over them is shame. They're so ashamed that they're naked. They're ashamed that they let God down. They're ashamed that they sinned. And so I find it no coincidence that that's one of the first things that we feel, that we immediately take on this feeling of inadequacy and like we're constantly letting people down, like we let God down. It's that immediate cloak of shame. And I just think if we understood, if we took a moment to think about what happened at the fall, it was that moment that everyone realized we're imperfect. Our bodies are broken. They are not made to last. They are not made to be here forever. So why worry about your flesh? I mean, take care of it, obviously, but the things of the flesh, like we're not supposed to be perfect. We're supposed to, they walked with God in the Garden of Eden. They did everything with him. I mean, he saw everything and there was no shame. There was no feeling of inadequacy because everything they did was in conjunction with God. And so the moment that happened, all of that shame came on. And so what do you know? Thousands of years later, when we mess up, when we hurt people, when we sin, when we act a fool, immediately we feel shame. But then if you go fast forward in the Bible, one of the things that God is like a pinnacle of Christianity is that I've removed your sins as far as the east is from the west. There's no condemnation in Christ. Ladies, we're not supposed to take on that shame. We are supposed to embrace the fact that we are imperfect. We are supposed to be okay with that. We are supposed to strive every single day to be better than we were the day before, but we are not ever one time called to be perfect. We are called to rely on God. We are called to community where we confess our sins, where we get prayer, where we have fun and laugh and work through the garbage that we're going through in our lives, but never one time are you called to be perfect. And any time in your life that someone has demanded that of you, they are dead wrong. Wrong. So let yourself off the hook today. Let yourself just embrace imperfection. Embrace your curves. Embrace your stretch marks where your children tried to claw their way out of your stomach. Embrace the fact that you haven't shaved your legs in a week. Embrace the fact that you have roots. Embrace the fact that when you screw up, there's grace and mercy, and you can go to whoever you hurt or whoever you wronged and say, I am so sorry. I really messed up here. And I'm asking your forgiveness, and I want to never do that again. Walls come down when you accept and admit to your imperfection. I believe wholeheartedly that God has a crazy sense of humor. And when I found out that I was pregnant that final time and went in for my ultrasound, I truly believe that he was laughing hysterically at me. But I'll tell you that for a long time, that was one of my biggest mom failure moments and something that I carried with me for a long, long time. But now it's something that I can look back on and one, laugh about, and two, use it as this pinnacle for God's ridiculous sense of humor. So to set you up, if you haven't heard, I had a few miscarriages, 5 to be exact. And this was our final month. I was done. Never wanted to be pregnant again. Never wanted a miscarriage again. Done, done, done. So I take the Clomid. I take the test, 2 pink lines, good to go. Numbers are looking great. In fact, they're very high. Healthy baby. So I go in with my girlfriend to have my ultrasound done. And we are acting like complete morons. We are being dumb and funny and making jokes about being in the stirrups and about the wand that I'm about to encounter. Just absolute dorky girls. And this very serious, very stoic ultrasound tech comes in And she's having none of it. She is obviously trying to get us to be quiet, and we're just giggling and snickering. And so she gets her instrument out, and that's what she said, and does her thing. And we see a baby. There's a heartbeat. There's, a little tadpole. Baby looks great. Heartbeat is good. Does the measuring. And I go, and there's only one baby. Because if you've ever taken Clomid or know someone who has taken it, you know that there's a very good chance that you can have multiples. But it's kind of on the lower end. It really doesn't happen that often. So we felt like, cool, we're in the clear. So Miss Very Stoic ultrasound tech takes the wand and violently moves it to the right and says, and here's baby B. Now, I wanted babies. Oh, I wanted babies so bad. I knew that I was supposed to be a mommy. I knew that I was supposed to be a mommy to more than one child, possibly 3, but that was kind of like, we'll see how that goes. And what I want to be able to tell you so badly is that I was just overjoyed, that I cried, and oh, my world is complete. No, I did not. That's not how I felt. I swore. I said the big SH word. And my girlfriend falls over in a fit of giggles and is on the floor laughing hysterically. And I remember being horrified that that was my response. And I think I said, oh my gosh, I'm a horrible mother. And then she's still laughing. I'm trying to take deep breaths in because, oh my gosh, I've just ruined my life. I've ruined my husband's life. I've ruined Maddie's life. We can't deal with twins. I'm obviously going to die. And I looked up at the ceiling and I was like, what the heck? Why did you do this? And I just felt like this peace about it while also feeling complete and sheer panic. But look how it's ended up. If you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, I have these beautiful boys. Now they are crazy, and I did not realize that children could smell so bad. But here we are. They're beautiful, they're smart, they're funny, they're wild and crazy and perfect. They're amazing. But in that moment that I carried with me for years, I felt like such a failure as a mom. One, I wasn't happy about having twins. Oh, and hey, follow up on that story. We find out on Christmas Day, we opened an envelope, we went and had the ultrasound to find out what we were having. Never in our wildest imagination did it occur to us that there could be 2 boys in there. Don't ask me why. I cannot explain it. But for some odd reason, we thought it'll be 2 girls or a girl and a boy. So imagine my surprise when I open that envelope, flip open the card, and it says, surprise, you're having boys. Thankfully, my face was not being recorded when that happened because it was complete panic, again, shock, and more feelings of, oh my gosh, I'm gonna die. No idea why. It was ridiculous. But following up on that, I cried all day that day. We spent the day at my in-laws for Christmas, and I was in the office most of the day sobbing hysterically. I didn't know what to do with boys. I didn't know what was, I didn't know anything. I had no idea what to do with them. Turns out, all you have to do is burp and fart a lot, and they think you're the bee's knees. And you should love them and, feed them and stuff. But those are, peripheral. So all of these moments, I am feeling like a complete failure as a mother. I have ruined my daughter's life because now she's having twins. I have ruined our lives because how do you afford twins? How do you feed twins? How do you care for them? How do you sleep? complete and total panic that I have failed once again. Now, I will tell you, I do not remember the first 2 years of their lives because I know I was super sleep deprived. I nursed the boys for 10 months, not exclusively, but enough that I felt like a dairy cow. And I remember the day that we stopped. That's it. I remember the day they were born. I remember some days peppered in there, but for the most part, I don't remember a whole lot. But I know that where I was weak, where I felt like I couldn't go on anymore, where I felt like I had failed and that I was this terrible, horrible mother. And obviously I needed to start saving for therapy and not college because I was insane. God stepped in and he just made it okay. He got us through. We were blessed beyond our wildest imagination during that whole season. We had great insurance. Young Living came in as this Hail Mary, and that's been amazing. I was able to do photography. I got to stay home with my babies, and my husband was home a lot of the time. It was the most stressful / blessed season of our lives. It was incredible. But I couldn't have done that. I could not have pulled all that strength out of my butt to save my life. Like, God had to step in where we had no freaking idea what we were doing and be our strength, because I'm telling you what, we were super weak from lack of sleep. One of my favorite verses has become John 10:10, and it's talking about how we have an enemy out there. Not to get charismatic on you. We have an enemy out there who wants to destroy our lives. Like, legitimately. He puts things in our path to destroy us. But counter to that, we have a God that wants to bring us to a place of abundance. So not like, hey, I want to get you out of this and take a deep breath. We made it through that. No, like crazy abundance. So I look at having these crazy nutso boys and I'm tired and sweaty, but oh my gosh, do they bring me so much joy. They are this gift of abundance that I thought I would never have. Through this crappy season of 5 miscarriages and all of this panic disorder and weakness and sadness and depression and anxiety, God brought me out of that into abundance. Hey, I got to be pregnant and deliver twice, and I have 3 kids. I'm winning here, guys. That was the coolest thing that God could have done for us. And to be honest, our weakest moments are our failures. They shape our story and they pepper our lives. And God can use them to bless others, to open dialogues about things like, hey, anxiety, miscarriage, failing, all of those things. But on the other side of those things is abundance. And especially when we can talk about it with other people and when we can be honest and open, God blesses you like crazy when you can do that. And it might be, it might be monetary, it might be things, but it might just be confirmation that you are standing in the place that God has you for a reason and he is going to use you. I hope that you feel like it's okay to be a failure and it's okay to be imperfect now, because join the club. None of us are perfect. We're all a mess. And if we just embrace that like struggle bus mess, I just think we'll all get along so much better. Don't you? Thanks for joining me again. You guys are the best, most wonderful group of people. I will see you back here next week. If you haven't hit subscribe, do it now. Leave a review. Let me know what you think and how we're doing. Love you guys. Have a great week.